Are you recording? Welcome to the Coin Show. I'm Mike,
I'm Matt.
I'm Carlton.
and we're going to discuss the latest from the world of coins and coin collecting. On our show today, in Coins 101, today we're going to discuss buying the book before buying the coin. Also, we're going to bring you our segment called From Change, where we talk about things that can be collected from your pocket change and can be collected for fun, not necessarily for a lot of money. We're also going to discuss price guides, where to find accurate prices for your coins and the coins you want to buy, and how to research coins before you bid on them. If you'd like to contact us, for those of you who have a Facebook account, we have a Facebook page, www.facebook.com/thecoinshow, or you can go directly to our Facebook page at coinshowradio.com. On that page, you can become a fan of our show. You can make suggestions, post on our wall, give us things that you'd like to hear or like to see on our show. But first, let's get started with a discussion on price guides, how to find accurate prices for your coins and where the coins you want to buy. Matt, since you are the dealer, since you are the guy that knows all the answers, why don't we start with you?
Sure, yeah. I decided that I wanted to see how you guys, if you had a coin that you needed to figure out what it was worth, how do you go about it? I mean, Mike, I'll start with you, and then we'll see how Carlton does it, and then I'll kind of give you my thoughts about it. So, Mike, if you had a coin, say you had an obscure coin, though, not a coin that you can just look up in an everyday price guide, how would you figure it out?
It's really funny. It depends on what you're talking about. But to give you an example, this week, I decided that I was going to put together a new set. Matt, you know, because I called you about it.
Sure.
And it's a certified set of 1962 proof set. And, you know, it's hard to find because there's a huge variance in the quality of the different coins. Do you want to go with, like, you know, price guides, coin prices? Do you want to go with Coin Market from Numismatic News? Some people are lucky enough, like I am sometimes, to have access to the gray sheet, which is a really, really good source because it's what the dealers are going to buy and pay. But for the most part, you know, I get lost at times looking for things, trying to find decent prices for them. I can look on the NGC site or I can look on the PCGS site. But to be honest with you, price guides are so far all over the place that even I get, you know, really confused with where to find stuff.
Well, that's there's some good and some bad as far as price guides go. I think that as we all know, the Red Book is a good reference. It's a good resource as far as giving you some pointers and tips on grading and maybe a semblance of a price. But I think that, at least on my end, the Red Book, and I'm sure you guys will probably agree, can be way off one direction or the other most of the time. And not to mention the numbers are usually about a year to a year and a half out of date when the book is published, to be honest with you. But Carlton, how do you go about finding your coins? Finding what your coins are worth?
If I have to find what a coin is worth, I usually hit up Heritage or eBay completed auctions, and just simple enough what other people were willing to pay for it.
Yeah, that's one of the things I use all the time, actually, and I'm glad you brought that up. Is one of the things that I do a lot is if I have a coin that we see a lot of coins in the coin shop, and if I have a coin that we don't see very often, you know, it's only worth what somebody's paying for it. And if worse comes to worse, a lot of times if we get something obscure, we end up putting it on eBay. So I'll go through the eBay listings and find, you know, a closed listing for the same item or something very similar if it's not graded. And just see what people are paying for it, and that can kind of give you an idea what your item is worth. Same with Heritage and some of the other auction sites. You can, you know, for the little bit more pricey items, you know, go through and find the last one that sold. That's another thing that I do. We had a group of Indiana obsolete notes come through not too long ago, and honestly, I didn't have the reference book on them, but they were provided to me, and I had to buy them. I had to figure out what I could pay for them, and not shoot myself in the foot. And we went through Heritage and found the last ones that sold, and I was able to make a what I thought was a very fair offer, and I was able to buy them that way. So
That's got to be a scary, scary feeling. Have somebody bring something in, and it's like you have really no reference with which to to figure it out.
well, yeah, exactly.
One of the things I noticed was when I was looking, in exactly that place, Heritage, for some of these coins, or eBay completed auctions, but it was worse in Heritage, is you have to watch the date of the auction and when it sold, because they'll give you like 4 and 5 year old auction results, which is cool for reference on Heritage. eBay doesn't store them quite that long, and it's probably more common, but in my opinion, just over the years, I've tended to find that your more educated buyers are going to be using Heritage more so than eBay, so you don't have as many prices that are just like anomalous, that they're not just like way out of left field.
Sure. I think the one thing that I've noticed about eBay too, I believe they only keep their record for 90 days. So anything that you found that sold is sold in the last 90 days, which is a pretty current, especially with something kind of obscure. Stuff on Heritage you see, they may not have sold one for 5 years, so it's not a real good reference all the time. But eBay, if you can find something that's sold on eBay, it's sold within the last 90 days.
Yeah, and you're going to find that the price is going to be a whole lot more current. It's going to be a lot more reflective of the actual coin market.
Sure. And sometimes it can actually be more reflective of a downturn in the coin market too. If, say, the item you're buying was hot 6 months ago, but now is worth, 30% less than it was 6 months ago, you can find that out too. And that might not be something that you are able to find on some of the auction sites because they just, may not run a lot of them. I think that finding the value of your coins is always one of the hardest things, and one of the things that I get asked about the most is, what's my coin worth? And I think that, you got to kind of extrapolate the best numbers that you can out of the references that we have pointed out here today.
Well, my question to you is, as a dealer, when somebody says, what is my coin worth, what is the first thing that's going to come from you? Is it going to be, well, I would pay this, or your coin is worth this? And then when they say, okay, well, that's cool, do you want to, do you then go back and say, well, that's not what I'd pay you for it? How do you end up handling that with customers?
My first answer to them, actually, I always tell somebody what I'm going to sell it for. I have no problem telling somebody that, your $20 gold piece, I'm going to sell it for $1,350, and I would pay you, $1,250 for it and try to make $100. I mean, that's just how I operate. I don't mind telling you what I'm going to do with it. I just think that it's a lot easier to be straight up with somebody instead of trying to fool them on stuff like that. So it stops bricks from being thrown through your windows.
Do you have big windows?
Yeah, we do, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. Good to know.
Oh, are you going to come throw a brick through it?
No. No. Not yet, at least. It all depends on that nickel you get me.
Well, yeah, let's get through this first, and then we'll see about that.
So you're saying that when the average Joe collector is looking for a price guide, that your suggestion is going to be, Matt, your number one suggestion is going to be to look through eBay.
Yeah, eBay or Heritage. I mean, if people don't have the computer, and obviously we see a lot of older folks that are kind of like you, Mike, that wouldn't know how to even turn on a computer.
That was for the window comment.
Sorry. But yeah, we see a lot of older folks, and I do point them towards the Red Book because, I mean, and I tell them, I show them a Red Book, and I say, look, here's an 1882 O Morgan silver dollar, and I actually have one in my hand, and I say, this book here says that this coin is worth, say, $22, but the one here in my hand, I would sell you for $16 or $17. So you can kind of see that the prices aren't actually all that accurate, but it will tell you if your coin is rare or if your coin is common. I tell them just to look at the first number in the book and look around that number, and if it's higher than all the other numbers around it, odds are that's probably a better coin. And that's where I start them at, and I think that's at least for the absolute novice, that's the best place to start, is just to get a book like that, because you can also see mintages. That's the one thing that I like about the Red Book, is it shows mintages for everything.
Well, I was going to say, I think the Red Book is probably the greatest reference book known to the coin world.
Oh yeah, no, I don't disagree with that. It's just the pricing is not absolutely, in my mind, very accurate. But I love the mintages. I love the quick grading guide, even though it's relatively rudimentary as far as the grading of the coins. It can give you an idea. But for the novice, I think that that's a good place to start, and then from there, once they learn, they can kind of move on to some of the other references that are a little bit more advanced. Imagine if you didn't know anything about coins, or imagine if you and I were looking at comic books. I have no idea how they grade comic books. How would you figure out what a comic book is worth? It's just think about it like that, and you can't go to an eBay or to a Heritage and start looking at comic book auctions and understand what the heck they're talking about. So you got to start somewhere.
Yeah, it's probably the greatest reference known to man because it gives you at least some idea on how to grade this stuff. It'll give you some idea as far as relative prices because mintage doesn't always determine rarity, and it'll also give you a lot of detail about the series itself, the weight, the size, whether or not it was all this really, really cool reference information. And the funny thing is what 90% of people think about it is as a price guide, whereas 90% of the people in the business look at it as a reference book, and the price is being completely useless.
Yeah. Well, and the one cool thing that I noticed recently is they just came out with the professional edition of the Red Book, which I actually found very useful, even in my business, because they show a ton of good pictures of some of the varieties in there. I mean, there's, like in the large sense, there's like 2 whole pages of high-quality photographs of just the overdates, stuff that, most people don't even know to look for or know what they look like. They have pages and pages of pictures. It's a larger book. It's actually about the size of a regular high school textbook rather than the small size of the regular Red Book. And it's just got a ton of information in there, and I really recommend that book.
Yeah, it's one of the first things that I always recommend people get. I think we see it a lot in the coin groups and things like that we post on. It's one of the first things people tell them, get a Red Book, get a Red Book, get a Red Book. And there's got to be a reason why it's been around for 60 years.
Yeah, that's true.
I would like, see if anybody is still listening at this point, we're going to run a contest for the first 3 people that post on our wall to the coin show at Facebook. The first 3 people that post to the coin show wall are going to get a prize.
Oh, cool. That'd be fun.
So you have to sign up for Facebook, and all you have to do is find the Coin Show fan page and make yourself a friend, and we will be in contact with you, and we will have a prize for you.
And it'll be something cool.
It'll be something really cool. It'll be a piece of Matt's window.
Oh, no. A piece of that brick you're going to throw through it?
No, never evidence. Never give him evidence.
Jeez. That's not good.
Do you guys have anything else on coins and finding prices for things? Is there any hidden nuggets that you have out there that you really don't see, not easy to find?
Well, there's a lot of reference material out there, and it's only as good as the people that put it together. And one thing with the Red Book is there are some of the top minds in the business, I think, that put that book together. So I do agree with what you're saying. As far as my end as a dealer, the prices, like I said before, they're rough, but there's a lot of useful information in that book. I don't have any secret websites that we use. Every resource that I use to figure out what something's worth, everybody else can use too. That's the cool part about this hobby.
And probably the biggest resource that coin dealers use that the average person doesn't is Gray Sheet. And for those people that do not know what this all-important Gray Sheet is, Matt, do you want to fill us in on exactly what the Gray Sheet is?
Sure. It's a publication put out by a company that does not buy or sell or trade coins. They basically monitor the coin market and basically put out a price for darn near anything U.S. that has been seen. That they study auction records. They study what stuff's selling for on the floor of big shows. They have some big trusted dealers that they talk to and say, hey, what's selling for what, and how easy is this to move at this price, and then they put out a weekly, a monthly, and a quarterly publication about all these different coin prices. And it's most every dealer I know uses it. It's something that when we buy coins in the shop, we use it because I know that on most coins, I can make a phone call and sell the coin for the bid price or just a little bit back of that bid price and, make it go away. So I think that it's something that you're going to run into. And while it's relatively expensive, I think it's for 2 years it cost us close to $100. It's definitely worth it as far as I'm concerned.
Now on to Coins 101. Coins 101 is a segment where we're going to discuss the world of coin collecting and cover some of the more basic ideas in coins and coin collecting. Let's see, Carlton, Coins 101. What do you have to share with our basic collectors today?
All right, today I have one of the most basic tips that any seasoned collector will give to a novice, and that's that you need to go out and buy the book first. One of the things that we were talking about, same thing as that what we were talking about with the price guides, is that a lot of this stuff is going to transfer over here. One of the great things about books here is that you can find out a lot of great information from them that you can't find online, I should say, or that is at least more complete than buying it online.
Or if nothing else, a little bit more dependable than what you find online.
Well, exactly. Whenever you look at a web page, you don't necessarily know who put together that web page or even what level of collector they are. They might just be as much of a novice as you are when you look at that page. However, when you buy a book, you're going to know that they were published by a fairly reputable person, a fairly reputable company, so you're going to have a lot more confidence in that information. But it's always nice to have a reference at hand, I'd say, which is one of the main reasons why I think a lot of people push the book as opposed to just posting what your question on a chat forum. We're sure you could get the answer, but you're going to get a more complete answer from the book and be able to look up additional information from that.
Is there a specific set of books that you particularly like, Carlton?
Oh yeah. So let's go into that. There are three main books that I would suggest for collectors to pick up right off the bat. So the first is A Guidebook to United States Coins, also known as the Red Book. We kind of started discussing that in our last segment. But one of the great things I think about the Red Book is it really gives a good background for the entire hobby. It gives a history of United States coins. It talks about different hoards and finds of coins. So it's going to give you a pretty good history and background to that. And then the other thing is that it's fairly cheap, maybe like $12 to pick up one of these things. So it's really a nice reference to have on hand. But as we were discussing before, the price guide is really you shouldn't be using it at all.
But the book is updated once a year, and the information in it is really, really dependable, and is written by two of probably the best numismatic authors out there.
And who would that be?
That would be Q. David Bowers and Ken Brissett. I don't know how you pronounce it. He'll be on our Facebook page. I don't know how to pronounce your name. There's a really good set of books that has been released over the past couple of years by Q. David Bowers called The Red Book of any specific series. And they've got ones for Lincoln cents. They've got ones for type collectors, 20th century type collectors, silver dollars. I have one on Buffalo nickels and Jefferson nickels that goes through date and mint mark by date and mint mark. Tells you strike characteristics. Like, for example, with the Jeffersons, my thing is full step nickels. And it will tell you each date and mint mark what the odds are of finding one with full steps. You know, is it 1 in 6? Is it 1 in 10,000? Are there none that are known of? Things like that. I think that buying books is the best investment people can make in coins.
From the mouth of a veteran.
Yeah, from the mouth of somebody who knows just enough to get himself really in trouble. I mean, Matt, what type of references do you look at?
No, I agree with everything you guys are saying, honestly. I'm just sitting here taking it all in. No, I mean, for the beginner, it's a wealth of information, and it's more information that I could soak up in a month is in that book. I really just have to echo what you guys are saying about it. I think that for the beginning collector, it's definitely the first thing that you need to go out and buy.
Something that I think is kind of interesting is that I have some older coin books. I have, for example, the 1976 Coin World Almanac. And it was kind of neat to read some of the things that they put in there before the bicentennial coinage. I've got books that go back, dated before the clad coinage comes out. And it's really interesting to see what people's points of view are prior to the biggest changes in our coinage. Say, for example, the clad coinage. Probably the biggest change in history, where everything went from an intrinsically backed coin to clad. Here it is. Here's Coin of the Realm, and how people reacted to it and how they liked it. You take a look at like a 62 or a 60 red book, and they're out there. There are people that collect just those books. And you can go back and you can look and see how traditionally prices have gone. Another thing that's really, really cool that I just thought about is if you collect Morgans. The GSA hordes that were released in the late 60s and early 70s, the mintages and things like that are not found in the older red and blue books. And you can see what the mintages of them, the known mintages, were before all the GSA hordes were found, gone through, and sold. And I think that's fascinating stuff.
Well, there's actually, I don't know if you know this or not, but there is an official guide to the official guide of the Red Book. There is a book that is out there that actually chronicles the Red Book over the years. It's written by Frank, and I'm sorry, Frank, I can't remember your last name offhand, and I'll find it here in just a second. It's called The Official Guidebook to the Official Guidebook of U.S. Coins.
From the Department of Redundancy Department.
I know.
Carlton, something that I think is really, really important to mention is that, a lot of people buy these red books and things like that to kind of use as price guides. And we talked a lot about price guides in our last segment. But I think that their better use is as reference material and just things that you can read and read and read about the coins that you're looking for. I think that initially a red book pulls people in because they want to know, what's my coin worth? Mm-hmm. And hopefully it sucks them more into, wow, there's a lot of information about these coins.
Oh, yeah.
We always talk about buy the coin before the book. There's, learn to grade through these books. You've got the ANA standards, which is okay. It's not, the end-all, be-all. You've got books on PCGS standards. NGC has a book out. I know that the PCGS book covers a lot on counterfeiting and detection of counterfeiting. And when you're buying key date coins, which is something that I'm really interested in, it's good to know when I'm looking at a raw coin, what the diagnostics are. How can I tell the difference between a real 55 double die and a fake 55 double die? Because that's going to be huge money difference. It's funny because when I first started out in coins, I didn't have a lot of money to start with. So I got a red book, and then I started collecting some. And the more I collected, it seemed, instead of the more I wondered how much they were worth, the more I got inquisitive about the coins and who made them and, how rare are they and all the things. And most people, I guess, just don't think. These are the things that probably the red book and some of the other numismatic references are best for.
Yeah, definitely. And I found Frank's last name, by the way. It's Frank Coletti wrote that book on the official guidebook to the official guidebook of United States coins, which I actually have a copy of, and it's pretty neat. If you don't have it, I would recommend that you pick it up. It's pretty cool. It actually shows, archive pictures from some of the early Red Book releases and the people that were there, and it's a neat book. And it actually shows the thing I found really cool in the book was it showed errors in printing of the book, where the bindings were printed crooked and covers were attached upside down. And being somebody that collects error coins, I thought that was pretty cool. But I digress. I'm sorry.
It's all right.
Collecting error books on error coins.
Yeah, isn't that fun?
Now, is that something that either of you guys get into? You get into error collecting, Matt?
Oh yeah, I started with errors when I was a kid. The first coin I actually ever sold for a profit was an error coin when I was about 14 years old.
Cool. We'll have to nail you down for a Coins 101 on errors and error coins.
Yeah.
Oh, geez. I think there are some much more knowledgeable people in the business. I'm definitely that. If I had to say that I was a collector of one thing, it would be error coins. I'm really considering very hard to start collecting obverse die caps of the world.
Now, die cap being
when a coin, sometimes planchets can stick to the dies and actually themselves start squishing out other coins. They end up looking like a thimble almost when they're done. They cup up and kind of hug the die, and they end up looking like a thimble, and they have the obverse image in the coin, and then the reverse usually becomes featureless because it's smashing out other coins. So it's a neat error. It's one of the more dramatic errors that you see, and I've accumulated a small collection of obverse die caps.
That's got to be cool.
It's neat. We'll do something about it some other time, though.
Okay. So basically, the best advice you can give Carlton:
Buy some books.
buy some books. Books on coins. I would
Words
hope.
of wisdom.
Yes.
Words of wisdom from Carlton Wiggum.
The pearls are just dropping.
Any books in general are probably better than no books, but yes, coins on books.
Are you finding that you have them at your public library?
Do you have a public library up there in Lower Canada?
Yes, we do have a public library here, and I am fortunate enough to be in a college town, which can be another good resource.
A college town? I heard they have libraries in college towns.
They do.
Really good ones. Can you go into the college libraries?
Most college libraries will let you, even if you're not a member or of the faculty, staff, or student body, will have some kind of checkout system that they will let you check out their books from there. At least ours does anyways. Yeah, so we have a world coin catalog and a few older books on ancient coins and stuff like that, but I think our total shelf space comes to like 2 shelves worth of books, so not a giant amount of information there, but
Reference material?
One thing that I do here at the shop that I know some other dealers do as well is we keep a pretty good sized library of numismatic literature here in the shop. I have 3 bookshelves full of it, and I have more of them stacked in the back of just books about coins, auction catalogs, counterfeit detection guides that I don't mind if people come into the shop and use them. Obviously, I don't let them take them home with them because we'll never see them again. But yeah, I mean, you might check with your local dealers and see if you have something specialized that you need to look up that maybe they don't have a book you could use about it. Just a thought.
Something that I try to put in people's heads too is when you walk into a coin shop for the first time, take a look around. See if the guy's got a big shelf of books. In my estimation, you're going to find that people that read a lot more about it and read a lot more about the coins are going to be more knowledgeable. They're generally going to be better about sharing that information too, rather than all the, you walk in, it's a big secret, and, you have to talk to the great and powerful Oz to find out what information you're looking for. Usually most coin dealers are really, really helpful if they know what they're talking about. And, the shop that I work in from time to time, you walk in and the entire back wall is just books. It's not anything else. No coins, no nothing, just books. So it's pretty neat when you need to look something up.
One last final thing I would mention here, if you're looking for reference material, if you are a member of the ANA, they do have a library, and they will, I believe, send you books if you check them out from there. So that can be another good resource, especially if you're looking for rare material.
They do too. They have some really, really rare books in that library that some of the books they don't even let you check them out. You have to go to the library to actually use them, but they have some really, really good stuff in their library. Stuff that's out of print or, that's $500 a book to get. So,
well, me being a computer guy, I have seen in my last stint with school where they actually digitized the books and you can read them online just like a regular book. And I think with some of the rarer books, that's going to be the end game for them, is they're going to end up putting them someplace either online or accessible through a computer where you don't have to worry about people degrading the book anymore.
Yeah, and that's true. That would be ideal, actually. That would be a really, really good thing.
Computers are taking over the world, Matt. Get ready for us.
Now, Google has done a lot of that book digitization, and I know you can find maybe not a lot of American material on there just because of our copyright stuff, but I've seen a lot of foreign language guides for metals and coins and different things like that.
That's true. Ancients, too. There's a lot of online references for ancient coins as well that used to be books.
I think the biggest project or the biggest hurdle for people to come over the next 20 years is once you start getting all this material published and online in books, is determining what is factual versus what is not, and being able to tell what are real books versus news group stuff and coin forums and opinion versus actual fact.
Isn't a fact just an opinion that most people believe to be true, though?
Well, a fact is an opinion that can be backed up with empirical
Oh,
evidence.
you're using big words again. I'm scared.
Sure, I am. I'm a college graduate. That's what that University of Illinois education will do for you, man.
I went to the school of hard knocks, buddy. That's the school.
Yeah. Okay, so anything else that we have for Coins 101 is there anything else from the buy the coin or buy the book not the coin school of thought?
The only thing that I would say to finish this off is kind of what you started talking about. Even though the Red Book and a few other books give a nice general outline for stuff, you can always find a book that concentrates on a particular series or a particular issue like error coins. So be on the lookout for those if you have a particular interest in one of those areas.
Okay, so what we would kind of go as our top 5 books would be the Red Book,
I would say number 2 would be the PCGS Counterfeit Detection Guide.
and I would put the NGC Counterfeit Detection Guide right next to it.
Yeah, we could.
Because, that PCGS guide is awesome.
Yeah,
book.
they're both pretty good books.
I would also say the series of Red Books by Q. David Bowers. Is there any decent authority for world coins that you guys know?
Oh, well, the Kraus guides, obviously, are
The Kraus guides. Okay, and the Kraus guides I'd say that's a pretty solid 5. You should check them out in your public library, or if you can, check them out online. Get yourself a copy and read them. In our last segment today, we're going to discuss things that you can collect from your pocket change. It's a segment I like to call From Change. From Change is going to be a segment that we're going to cover from time to time, and it's going to talk about things that you can collect strictly from your pocket change. This is not stuff that you go out and buy. This is stuff that you can actually look through your coins that you get in change from $1 for. I'm going to start our very first segment from Change with probably the biggest coin collector change item out there, and that is the 50 statehood quarters. 50 statehood quarters are out there. They're out there every place. Anybody and everybody can start a collection of them, and it's as simple as taking $1 to the store and cashing it. The collection spans a total of 10 years. It has all 50 of the United States and 6 of the protectorates. There are a lot of different ways that you can collect them. You can collect them by mint mark. You can collect them by state. You can collect them by state and mint mark. The United States government has put together mint sets that contain these coins. They've put together proof sets, quarter-only proof sets, silver quarter-only proof sets, and complete silver proof sets. They can be collected in virtually any condition, from absolutely shabby to absolutely perfect and everywhere in between. And I think that every single collector in this hobby probably should, if not already does, have a collection of statehood quarters. Carlton, do you collect them at all?
Not really.
There's a ringing endorsement. Nope. Do you like them? Nah, I don't think so. They're boring.
Yeah, there are definitely some interesting ones in there. And one thing that I would say, though, that you can add to this is that the Mint just started their new...
I call it State Quarters Part 2.
Exactly.
Actually, I call it Modern Commem Part 2.
State Quarter Redux.
Remember the Booker T. Washingtons?
Oh.
Yeah, you remember the Booker T. Washingtons and the things that killed the commemorative program and $50 in the
Sure,
50s?
yeah.
I think they're cranking that one through the sausage factory again. You had probably one of the greatest programs in all of mankind start in 1999, where you had people like me that were convinced that I'm going to put together a roll set of this. I'm going to sell rolls. I'm going to sell sets of them after I'm done for huge, huge money. All the way to your average 6-year-old kid that was going through their dad's change saying, hey, look, do you have a Washington State quarter? Do you have a Hawaii State quarter? With me, I have a daughter who's now in high school. And we started when she was like 8. And we started into the series a little bit. But we got a map. And every single time one of the brand new quarters come out, she'd get the first one that I ran across. Every single time. And it grew into something as a family thing for the two of us. Now, is it a little beyond my scope as a collector? Absolutely. But it was something that really got kids involved, and it got my kids involved. And it got us talking about coins and looking at designs and talking about which ones are too cluttered which ones were great. Matt, do you plan on, doing any of that kind of stuff with your kid?
Oh, geez. My kid, I think, is going to grow up in a coin shop.
Or are you going to start her straight on the $2.50 gold?
No, 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 no. I think that first he's got to show some interest, and then at that point, I will foster his learning about the coins, and probably get him started on something, state quarters, or the state parks, or now sorry, national parks quarters. I have to agree that the state quarter program introduced the mainstream America to coin collecting. I think that people that were never coin collectors before started collecting these quarters, and not all of them, but a few of them actually started looking at other coins, and I think it created a lot of coin collectors, and a lot of people out there that are out there today, I think, got their start with the state quarters. So to that extent, I will give it a credit for that, because it definitely, I think, brought a lot of people into the hobby, and it gave it a shot in the arm. I think today I think they're kind of beating a dead horse, but that's just my personal opinion.
But from a design standpoint, you look at these it was the first introduction of new design that we'd had in probably 30 years. And it was constant change. It was 5 new designs every year. And, it really got, I don't know about you, but it really got me thinking now, yes, did it kind of precipitate in 2 more nickels in 2004? Yes. Did it kind of precipitate in 4 new Lincoln cents in 2009? Yeah. Is it precipitating now into national parks that's going to be another 10-year program that's going to have 5-ounce rounds attached to all this other kind of stuff? Are they focusing on who's really... No, it's not the Mint's job. The Mint's job is to produce this stuff and to hopefully grab more people. I just looked forward to seeing what the new designs were going to be all the time, to having something to look forward to, not knowing what it was going to look like. Seeing in the coin magazines, hey, look, the new designs for the next 5 quarters are out. And it really kind of got me excited about modern stuff.
Not to mention some of the cool errors that were out there as well that popped up on the 3-leaf error, which I think is one of the Wisconsin quarter error. I think is one of the coolest things that happened as far as varieties go relatively recently. Is somebody actually covertly changing a die to produce a new variety. I thought was pretty cool.
Carlton, do you have any plans on ever even looking at state quarters?
I'll probably put together a set at some point, I'm sure, but I don't know. Just not really interested in pulling them out of change right now, I guess I would say.
Well, imagine what our change is going to look like in 30 years.
Heck of a lot better than it did 20 years ago.
That's a good point, but...
I'll tell you what, when I was a kid, okay, this is going back to the days when dinosaurs roamed the earth and stuff like that, but when I was a kid, they had first come out with the clad coins. And honest to God, this is the truth. We used to sit there with our Whitman folders, and we would fill up nickels, pennies, and dimes because, it was change that we could have. And every single coin that came out of my dad's pocket was either a 65, a 66, or a 67 dime. That was it. And 64D nickel. And if you wanted to collect those, you could collect them by the roll because there were millions of them out there. But really nothing for a while. And to be honest with you, I went back and I started collecting mint sets just because I think that clad coins have been like the stepchild. They've been ignored over the past, 20 years, and people haven't really collected them. And finding high-end clad coins at some point in the future, I think, is going to be a worthwhile pursuit.
Sure. I've shifted a little bit of my focus toward just mint state Eisenhower dollars as of late. There are some of those coins that are really just darn rare and high grade. That is... been my direction lately as far as any kind of clad coin is concerned, is kind of directing towards the Eisenhower dollars.
Although they're kind of hard to find. It's not like you can walk into a bank and you can ask for that. Whereas, with the statehood quarters, you can go into a bank with a $20 bill. You can get 2 rolls of quarters. You can take them home, you can bust them open, and you can see if you can put together a full set. And it's something that virtually anybody can do. It doesn't take a huge budget. And it's coin collecting for the fun of coin collecting, which in my opinion is what coin collecting should be.
Definitely. I definitely agree with that. It's getting back to the roots. Like I said, it got a lot of people started, and I hear people all the time that come in here and say, hey, I started with the state quarters, but then I saw these Morgan dollars, and I just really love them. and I have to have them. So I mean, I give the Mint and the State Quarter program a lot of credit for introducing people to something that they never had even thought about doing before.
I think the timing on it was just perfect.
Yeah.
It was something where it had been a while before they did anything, and so it kind of got people's interest piqued. And now if they just don't overkill it, but the statehood quarter, the statehood quarters at least is a complete set. It's done. So now if you want to overkill it with the state parks and stuff like that, you can go ahead. But it's kind of like the early commems, where if you want to collect the stuff from, the 20s and the early 30s, they're out there. They're easy to collect. They're relatively. There are people that are interested in them. And if you're looking for a stepchild, then just go ahead and collect the state parks.
Don't be hating on the parks.
Oh my God! So that's going to be your new bailiwick. You're gonna be hammering on the state parks, Carlton.
Hey, I like them. Maybe it's just because I come from a state where all it is state parks, but...
Well, considering they're national park quarters, I think you're going to have a tough time finding the state park quarters.
That's true. But we do have Yellowstone, which is coming out here June 1st. I'm going to be up there for that release.
America's first national park. So for any of the new collectors out there, if you want a recommendation from me, it would be to start collecting state quarters. I think Matt pretty much sits the same, and, well, we'll wait for Carlton to just kind of give us what he wants to do.
He'll come around.
He will come around. But see, that's the thing about being a collector and just strictly a collector. Find your way. Do what you want. Do what's interesting. Be fickle. Collect one thing one day, collect something entirely different the next. Do what you do because it's fun.
Spoken like a true champion of the hobby.
And on that note, if you'd like to contact us, make suggestions on things you'd like to hear, please post a comment to our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/thecoinshow or at coinshowradio.com. That'll forward you to our Facebook page where you can download our podcast and become a fan, or just write an opinion about coins or the show or about the hosts. I'm Mike.
I'm Matt.
I'm Carlton.
And we will see you next time on The Coin Show.
Hey listeners, Carlton here, editor of the podcast. Every once in a while I have some audio files that are just too funny to leave on the editing room floor. So here you go, our blooper reel for the podcast. Hope you enjoy.
Shh, we can talk about him now. He is king of this call. It's like, are you ready to go? Okay, you ready to go? It's like, then shut up. Let's get this show on the road, man. Are you naked?
Butt naked.
Butt.
Or throwing a brick through the window.
Yeah, baby. And on our last segment today, we are going to... No, we're not.
God, I love it. I love it when you screw up. It's my favorite thing. I can just hear you face palming from here.
Are you going to be in the boo-boo suit or the yogi suit? Hey, look, it's Ranger Smith.
We probably want to re-record the opening because you gave the wrong website. You sounded kind of confused there at the end. You're like, we'll see you next time?
Welcome to The Coin Show. I'm Matt.
Bigger glasses with trifocals.
Think you can page that together, Carlton?
Oh, man. He's going to be like a hippie girl making a skirt patching that thing together.